Money, travel, and spending. How do people travel the world nonstop? How are they traveling from place to place, having all these amazing experiences? And most importantly, what does it cost? That is exactly what we are revealing today by sharing with you all exactly how much we spent in Santiago, Chile in a 31-day period. To be honest, we totally blew the budget. But here are all the amazing things that we got to experience.
We saw the beautiful Chilean ocean coast over a weekend in Viña del Mar. We hiked the incredible mountains that surround the city of Santiago. We ate delicious, tasty food and continued to dream of all of the flavors we encountered. We soaked in the sun rays on top of San Cristobal and all of the parks across the city. We watched the sunset in Santiago's tallest building, the Costanera, and got to experience the way the locals live by shopping at the street markets, eating local food, and choosing to live in a more modest part of the city. This is not 100% luxury travel, and we're definitely not living in hostels. It's something more in between and a bit moderate on the budget side of things.
Where have we been lately? We've been all over South America. We've gone to Chile, Patagonia, we've been to Buenos Aires, Uruguay, Lima, and we're currently in Cusco at the time of recording this particular video. And look, this channel is all about inspiring you to travel the world and experience life beyond borders. We're sharing our practical travel tips and unique experiences. And today we are sharing exactly how much we spent in a 31-day period in Santiago, Chile. And again, we totally blew the budget.
And before Santiago, we've been doing this for a while. We've been out of the United States for 2.5 years. And we spent 2 years in Colombia traveling from city to city. And we spent over a month in places like Santa Marta, Cali, Medellin, Villavicencio, the coffee region including Manizales, Ibagué, Armenia, and several months in my city, Bogota.
The way we have been able to do this kind of nonstop for 2.5 years is through slow traveling. This means that we have been booking a place for about a month or more, and that allows us to kind of bring down costs a little bit and also have the local experience because we're spending so much time in one place. We are able to do this because 1, we don't have kids. 2, we have no debt. We got rid of that years ago. 3, we have no physical assets like a house, a car, or anything holding us back. We're technically homeless. 4, we make enough money to afford this lifestyle. And 5, we don't know where we want to end up, and we want to travel for a while trying to figure out where do we want to end up.
What's the place for us?
Yeah.
And before we did this whole traveling the world and living life beyond borders thing, we did the homework, or more like I let Jonny do the boring homework of crunching the numbers for our monthly budget and spending in Dallas, Texas as the base of what we could afford abroad.
We chose Santiago, Chile because we were interested in getting closer to the Chilean Patagonia region to see Torres del Paine
and whales in the Magallanes Strait,
which was incredible. But we did not expect to fall in love with Santiago, and that's kind of why I think we let the budget loose a little bit. So let's get into the numbers. Our general budget rules are to spend $1,000 on an accommodation, that's either Airbnb or rent, $1,000 on food, whether that is eating out or groceries, so about $500 in each of those categories, and then $1,000 on everything else. And then we have a $1,000 budget just to kind of like keep things sort of loose. So yes, about $3,000 to $4,000 is our relative budget on a monthly basis. And it's important to understand that we do not punish ourselves if we go beyond our budget because we are fortunately doing well off enough, but we know that we've had plenty of other months where we have been way below these numbers that we're going to share today.
First off, let's talk about accommodation, which is one of the most expensive expenses when traveling. Now, when we're looking for an accommodation, we're looking for a couple of things. So it needs to have good internet because we continue to work our corporate jobs. 2, it needs to have a comfortable kitchen because we cook a lot of our meals. including breakfast, lunch, dinner. And so we want to have a comfortable space where we both can like work on different things. And there's enough, space in the burner or the countertop for us to make our meals.
And a place for me to wash the dishes because I am the dishwasher.
But if we're gonna count those things, I need an int unit washer because I'm the one in charge of laundry. And so I like to have a laundry in the unit, and I don't have to go to any laundromat or just to any other place to do laundry because we don't have a lot of clothes, and laundry needs to be done on a
Very
frequent
frequently.
basis.
Every 2 days almost, pretty much.
Yes, correct. And fourth, we need to be walking distance to grocery stores because, again, we cook a lot at home, we eat a lot of food, and so as we eat a lot of fresh vegetables and fresh food, we don't buy a lot of food for the whole month. We just buy food for like 2 or 3 days. So we have to constantly go to grocery stores or farmers markets, and we need those to be really close to the accommodation so it's easier for us in our routines.
So how much did we actually spend on this accommodation? Let me tell you. Let me grab the computer because I'm not going to memorize these numbers off the top of my head. So for the accommodation in Santiago, Chile, for 31 days, we spent $1,076.63. And I think that's pretty good. That's a little bit above what we try to spend. But again, we're not going to punish ourselves about that.
Housing and Airbnbs in Santiago were on the expensive side. Neighborhoods that we wanted to experience, like Ñuñoa and Barrio Italia, wanted to charge us like $2,000 for all of the amenities that we had. But we ended up choosing this location and this apartment because it met all of our requirements and it was in a good location. It was at the corner of Fray Camilo Enriquez and Argomero, and it ended up working really well for us.
Groceries. We love, again, cooking at home, usually Monday through Friday, even sometimes on the weekends, and we almost always exclusively have our breakfast at home every single day of the week because I love the way I make eggs with cayenne pepper, cracked black pepper, turmeric, and salt. And I whisk them up and it's like a perfect flavor, and do coconut oil in the pan. Love it. Okay, so we love cooking at home and we eat a lot of fresh produce. So being close to grocery stores is really important. We were close to a Líder and a Totus.
Totus. Líder and Totus.
And on our street, we didn't even expect this. Every Friday and Sunday, they had a food market for us to go walk in the street with the street vendors and basically buy whatever fresh produce we needed. So we were just loving it being in Santiago, Chile, in this specific location. So even with this said, and with the food market, we ended up spending $665.92. We made about 40 transactions. The average cost was $16.65. The highest transaction was $116.86, and the lowest was $1.67, which I'm pretty sure was like water or something like that. So that gives you an idea of how expensive it would be for groceries for two people in a month's period in Santiago, Chile.
Eating out. As you can tell, we just love eating. So eating out is one of the categories that we tend to spend a little more money because it's an experience that we actually love. In Santiago, we ended up spending $72 at Moose Steakhouse, but we both got a delicious piece of meat that we both just like enjoyed, and like we salivate when we remember that experience.
We do. The chimichurri was really good too at that restaurant. Yes, incredibly good.
It was memorable. We also went to Singular, the restaurant at the Astaria Hotel, which was another incredible, very memorable meal. There were a lot of like different elements and flavors, and the desserts were just spectacular.
That's why we chose it, because we saw a picture of the dessert and we were like, we got to go eat there. And then we found out that it was a very like gringo hotel and restaurant.
For older people. We were like the youngest people there.
We were the youngest.
But it was really expensive.
But we made it more modest places.
Yeah, we ate at places where we could get completos, and you would spend between $6 to $8 per meal there. We had a lot of Venezuelan arepas at a place that was right across from our apartment, and it was just about $4 per arepa, but they were incredibly delicious. So whenever we didn't feel like cooking, we would just go and get an arepa.
So here are the numbers. We spent on eating out in 31 days, no joke, $850.10. 42 transactions. The average was $20.24. The highest was $72.97, and the lowest was $2.22, which was probably like a cup of coffee or something like that. Transportation. Now, we could have taken public transportation and spent way less, but we choose to take Ubers because it just cuts out a lot of time. You know, the time to walk to a public train station or a bus stop and to wait for the station. We just prefer to use Uber, get picked up immediately, and go straight to the locations we're trying to go to. So we spent a lot on Uber. Public transportation, we spent only $12.78. We only made one transaction. So obviously the highest and lowest is $12.78. But in terms of Ubers, we spent $234.13. It was a combination of 38 transactions. The average transaction was $6.16. The highest was $24.52, which was probably
The airport ride.
the airport ride. This is the longest one. And the lowest one was 51 cents. Now you have to cut the number of transactions in half because we tend to hit the tip button on Ubers. So that's why there's like such a low transaction of like 51 cents because we're willing to tip. But keep in mind, $234.13. I mean, if we compare that to how much we would spend in the United States for transportation, including, gasoline and insurance and oil changes, I mean, we'd easily.
The airport ride in Dallas, Texas, the average airport ride for us would have been between $60 to $80.
Yes.
So that's just not even comparable.
Yeah. So we were totally fine spending that much money on Ubers because we know we would spend way much more at home in Dallas, Texas.
Recreation. So we do not count our activities as recreation. So we only have one transaction in recreation, which was a gym membership to a Pacifico gym, which we didn't enjoy very much. The gym was a little run down, it was a little dirty, and it wasn't just that good to experience.
And it was only 15 days, like a 15-day access that we had. So the total cost was $51.98, and it was just one transaction.
For the both of us.
For the both of us. So I think as we travel more, we're going to try to figure out a way to get an accommodation with the gym and maybe up our budget a little bit for that because that gym was not that good.
No. For cell service, we used the company Idalo, so we got eSIMs before we even landed in Santiago, and we paid $46 for a good amount of data, and it was really good. Like we always had internet, we always had service. It was perfect.
Yeah, we even renewed it when we went to Patagonia, and it was perfect out there as well. Activities, tickets, tours, things of that nature. We're going to break down each one of these. So the first thing that we did was San Cristobal because it's one of the most common tourist attractions. We spent
$17.70 in the cable cart.
That was just access to take the cable cart to go up and down the whole thing all day. We spent like 6 hours there.
Yeah. That's the one that gives you unlimited rides, and you can take the buses and all of that. And we went up and down quite a few times.
There's also an observatory there. Can't say that. That's actually in our cash transactions, but I know it's about $16. We spent $16 for a tour of the observatory, and it was incredible just to learn the importance and significance of that observatory like 100 years ago when they built it and what it was contributing to astronomical science.
Yeah, the astronomer that we met was very thorough and he was very, very kind. We got to see the sun and it was just spectacular.
Yeah, and we got to move the whole thing and see how they moved it mechanically, and they didn't have like the most advanced technology like we do today. So it was very neat to see how mechanical it was and that you could just move it with your human body. It was very interesting.
And again, I think the astronomer that we met was very, very knowledgeable and he made the experience very, very incredible.
Hiking in Santiago, 2 hikes were free, hiking Carbon and hiking Manquehue. They were completely free, which is,
You just show up and start
yeah.
suffering.
Yeah, the sun, it was February when we were hiking, which is summer there, and it got pretty intense, but oh my God, it was beautiful to get up there and see the view of like the city and the way the mountains look surrounding Santiago. The other hike that we did, we went to a waterfall, and I always say this wrong.
We went to Parque Aguas de San Ramon and we went to the Salto de Apoquindo.
Thank you. And it was like it was about a 12-mile hike, going up and down, and it was awesome to see the city disappear as you walked deeper into the mountains, and then there was a really cold waterfall you could dip your feet in. Some people were getting in it,
Although it's forbidden.
although it's forbidden, but there were a lot of people doing it anyways. But awesome, we love hiking.
But we spent $7.74 on those entrance.
For entrance. It costs more to Uber to get to the trailhead. Sky Costanera. This is the Costaneras tower, the tallest tower that sticks out in all of Santiago, and they have a little lookout at the top. And it cost us, what did it cost us?
$19.70. Oh,
Nope.
wait, sorry. $38.47.
Yeah, for the 2 tickets. So it's about $20 per ticket basically, to go up there and really enjoy your time. So be methodical as to when you want to go up there. We decided to go before sunset and just see the city transform, from being lit up by the sun, and then all the city lights turn on, which is always a pleasure.
And we also visited the Pablo Neruda house, La Chascona, the one that's in Santiago. And those tickets cost $19.71.
For 2 tickets. And we don't have any footage of that because they don't let you take any footage of that place at all. So if you want to see it, you got to actually go there and see it. So the total cost of activities was, in Santiago, only $110.66 for 6 transactions. The average was $18.44. The highest was $38.47, which was Costanera, and the lowest was $7.74. So activities, there were plenty of free things to enjoy and do across Santiago.
Those were the activities that we pay money for, but we also explored the city. We went to so many museums. I can't even remember all of them. We walked the city center quite a lot. We walked quite a few neighborhoods, Astaria, Italia, and we walked through parks and plazas, and we did so much in Santiago. So yeah, we did a lot.
Yeah, you don't have to spend money on any activities if you go there. There's just so much going on in that city.
So far, what's our total cost for Santiago?
Santiago, not including a plane ticket to get there, we spent $3,048.20 in 31 days.
So by this point, we already blew our budget, but we had to put the icing on top of a cake, and we did a weekend trip to Viña del Mar, Valparaíso, and Cancun. How much did we spend in our accommodation for this weekend getaway?
For 2 nights, it was $161.33, but it was an incredible accommodation. We could oversee the dune that was right next to Cancun.
The Cancun dunes.
And see the ocean. And I thought that was pretty affordable for what we had at the 22nd floor.
It was pretty nice. How much did we spend eating out?
Whew. Another $222.91.
But we did eat every single meal out.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the food was just spectacular. So we ended up getting desserts quite often for lunch and for dinner. So how much did we spend in activities?
On activities, only $20.02, and that was another Pablo
Neruda house.
Yep.
Yeah. And the rest, we just walked around. We walked from Valparaíso to almost Cancun. So it was a really long walk. So we got to see almost the entire waterfront of that area. And we saw surfing, We laid in the beach. It was nice. And then we had a lot of fun in the Concon dunes. I even hurt myself.
Public transportation, the cost to get there and get back just on a bus ride, which was only about 2 hour bus ride between Santiago and Viña del Mar, was $44.39. So for one person, about $10 one way. It's pretty good. The Ubers were a little expensive in Concon area, and we did spend $69.64. So our total cost for that weekend in just 2 nights was $524.22.
Expensive, but nonetheless, it's a great experience. And it's just so different from like being in Santiago to going there. And it's so close. So tell us, Jonny, how much did we spend in these 31 days in Santiago and our weekend in Viña del Mar?
It was $3,572.42.
Oopsie.
Per a day, it was $115.24. Per person, $1,786.21.
Okay, so how much income would I need to make in the United States?
Together, both of us would need to make roughly $57,158.72.
And that's including taxes, right?
That's including about roughly taxes. That's why I say estimate there. And then that would be per person, we'd need to at least make $28,579.36. So I hope this video has given you an idea how affordable it can be and how expensive it can be to kind of have this like slow travel lifestyle abroad. For us, we are very fortunate and very thankful and express a lot of gratitude every day that we are able to have this opportunity in our life.
Yeah. And our OnlyFans account is just bringing in the money.
Yeah. If you want to check out our OnlyFans account, go ahead and click on the link below. We're totally kidding. We don't have an OnlyFans account. But if you think we should get one.
We're not. We're going to keep our corporate jobs.
Well, thank you for watching. Please let us know if you found this valuable, if you'd like to know more of our budget breakdown for other places that we've been to. Algo más quieres decir?
No, I love you.
Te amo. Ciao. Thank you for watching.